Hey everybody, this is Dusk Protested on Gaming with match number 2 of episode 1 of Modern Burn. Trying out this Gruul list from Archangelic 76 from this past weekend's Modern Challenge. First match, got off to a bit of a rough start against Dredge, but Dredge is a kind of a tough matchup for Burn at this point with the addition of Creeping Chill in recent months. But so this is a little more lower to the ground with Bomat Courier pairing alongside Monastery Swiftspear and Goblin Guide. Taking advantage of Skewer the Critics and Tarkus Command over the white spells of Boros Charm and Lightning Helix. There is some white cards on the sideboard. Rest in Peace, Path to Exile. Rest in Peace would have been good if we would have drawn against Dredge. Path is good against the big creatures. And then the rest of the cards, Destructive Revelry against any type of enchantments or artifacts you want to kill. Exquisite Firecraft, good against Control, Death Shadow, decks with a lot of counterspells. A couple copies of Searing Blood, pretty good against the smaller creature decks. And then Grim Lavamancer. Additional threat against really slow, grindy decks like Blue-White Control, or comes in against the smaller creature decks. So, on to match number 2. So, like I said, this is going to be kind of an ongoing series. We're going to try for a little while. Play various different decks, like one match per day on the channel. And then, alright, so this one is pretty good hand. We're on the draw, which kind of sucks, but definitely keeping it. Tron. Okay. Searing Blaze, not the best in this matchup, but rest of our cards should be pretty decent. Alright, so our opponent's going to have 2/3 of the way to Tron already. So that means they might not have Tron on curve. Or they could already have Tron in hand. Kind of hard to say. Next turn, Bomat Courier, Skewer the Critics. And the following turn, Bolt, Skewer the Critics. Yep, opponent with a pretty good Tron hand. Depends on what their payoff is, if their payoff's Karn or if their payoff is... Alright, so they're gonna have Tron on 3, which kinda sucks. Another Bomat Courier. Is that worth playing out here? Maybe? So this puts them to 15, 12... 9... Don't think the extra Bomat Courier is worth the loss of damage output this turn. Alright, Sylvan Scrying is kind of redundant at this point. Castle Spectacle. Past our opponent here. See what their payoff is. Wait, what? Why didn't they play Tron here? Okay, and we know they have mine, so it's not like they don't have Tron in hand. Seems really, really bizarre. So now we have a way to win through Worm Coil Engine. Oh, there's the Worm Coil. And Tarka's command will be lethal next turn. Alright, I'm guessing just here comes... Don't understand why they didn't play out Tron last turn, but whatever. So sideboarding against Tron, we're going to want some number of Destructive Revelries and some number of Path to Exile. Certain Blazes can all go out. Beyond that, Eidolon's not usually fantastic in the matchup. It can be reasonable, depending on their draw. Just end this game. Alright, got a little bit lucky. Our opponent floundered despite having Tron on 3. Get these Blazes out of the deck. Get like 2-path, Destructive Revelry. It's about the only card. The cards that are usually relevant are like Walking Ballista, Worm Coil Engine, Thrag Tusk. So, and to some degree, Thought Nazier can be relevant if we make it to turn 4. Like I said, Eidolon's not the greatest in this matchup, but it does serve some purposes in some games. Otherwise, I'd have more cards to bring in against the deck. But Tron is usually a pretty solid, reasonable matchup for Burn. Under last year when I was doing, and in the beginning of this year when I was doing the 100 treasure chest challenge, which I'm still unofficially doing. I'm like keeping track of the treasure chest till we get to 100. But it was probably one of the decks that Burn performed the best against. We were like 7-1 or something in overall matches. And then Dredge was close to like 40 or 45%. So those are the 2 matches we've played against so far. But you always want to board out. Like Searing Blazes are bad against decks that 3 damage is useless against. You know, decks that aren't packing. You know, decks like Counters Company, some of the Affinity lists, the Burn Mirror. There's a lot of cards, a lot of decks this is good against, but a lot of decks also don't present you with much thing. Like, Tron in the main deck has like Worm Coil Engine, maybe Ulamog, maybe World Breaker that you can target with, and so. His hand is a little error. Has a little bit of error here. So, is this a hand I can justify keeping? Probably not. This hand's not great either, but at least it can play spells. Okay. Looks like they'll have turn 4 Tron. Go get my green source here. That courier is obviously the worst of our 1-drops, but at least it's a hasty threat that draws us some cards. So I'm able to chip it in for some damage here at least. Hand is not damage based, it's more utility based, which can be a problem against Tron. So it'd be kind of funny if our opponent tapped down for an expedition map here. Nope, just Sylvan Scrying, so they're gonna assemble Tron the hard way here. Let's go ahead. Hidden with Bomac Courier, play Skewer the Critics, and suspend Riftbolt, I guess. Lightning Bolt. Suspend Lightning Bolt. Pass. Ancient Stirrings. What do you find? Special Contortion's a little bit annoying here. Played out Mine even though we knew about Power Plant. That's interesting. Suspend here. Hopefully your opponent doesn't have a Thragtusk. Wormcoil Engine would be fine. Nope, looks like a Swaggleson. Swaggleson's going to be hard to beat in this spot. That's good. Move on to game number 3. We're just too far behind this game. We would need at least 4 draw steps to win, and we're not getting 4 draw steps. So, hand was a little bit below average. We had to mulligan to 6, obviously. Had to keep a hand with 2 utility cards, which, while they can be fine in the matchup, they're not, you know. Another hand that's fine. Tarkus Command's pretty nice. This is like one of the situations where drawing Destructive Revelry would be fun. That is also a perfectly acceptable draw. Puts our opponent under a lot of pressure. next turn we kind of get to unload our hand. Alright, so they're going to Tron on 3. So I think we're going to play it a little bit more conservative and just hold up Atarka's command here. That way, for some way, if they have, like, green source for Swag Tusk here, we're not kind of blown out. Yeah, because if they were to go Swag Tusk here and we didn't have Atarka's command up, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Walking Ballista? Nope. So, it still has 3 mana floating. Yep. So we can put our opponent to 8 here with Atarka's command. And as long as they don't have an answer to this Swift Spear, they're just dead next turn. Deciding what they want to do here. Okay. Sure. Yep, and that means they're dead. Cool. Opponents can't gain life. Deals them 3 damage. Tarka's command. Checkmate. Bolt you. Skewer the critics. Attack you. Alright, so pretty easy matchup. Obviously we lost game 2 there, but that happens a lot of times against Tron, especially the game 2 or game 3 that they have on the play when they have access to Swag Tusk and they have access to Thought Nazi or Walking Ballista or Spatial Contortions or any number of other sideboard options. Matchup can get tough and tricky whatever game they have on the play. So you generally want to win game 1, and then game 2 and game 3 you generally tend to, if you lose a game, you lose the game in which they're on the play, and then usually you can take it on game 3 if you're on the play. So this has been episode 1, match number 2 with Modern Burn here on Dusk Till Dawn Gaming. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.